Spinning. We got one. We got two. Okay, I think we're ready to go. Welcome into another edition of Orange and Blue View, OBV, your obvious choice for Saturday Night Broncos news and analysis. My name is Dylan Von Arx. We're flying solo tonight. Everyone else, including my regular co-host Ronald White, is at the meet and greet in Denver this week versus the New York Giants. So I'm flying solo tonight. So bear with me, folks. If there's any messages I don't get to, especially on Facebook, that's a little harder for me to monitor through StreamYard. So if anyone wants to help me out on that end, that would be greatly appreciated. But it's lovely to see all the people here in the chat already. Let's say hi to a few people here. We got David Youngkin coming and says, I know everyone is excited to see Greenlaw in that defense now, but the offense has to do something besides one good quarter. I couldn't agree more. I could not agree more, David. Offensive side has to hold up their end of the bargain. C. Chang coming in. Always good to see you, my friend. Ernie Mays coming in as well. Go Broncos country only. Go Ernie Mays only. We love you, Ernie Mays. Always good to see you in here. The Rock, Michael Ronquillo, hopping in as he always does. He says, good evening, Ron and Dylan on Orange and Blue View. Go Bo Broncos. It's always good to see you in here, Michael. Love to see everyone here in the chat. We got Max Ruin here as well. Good to see you, Max. String guy, as always. Good evening, Ron and Dylan, Broncos country. I want to see a breakout game with Ingram and Bryant over the middle. This is a game where I would pass to set up the run. Also, screen passes to Harvey. Yeah, we would love to see the Broncos work over the middle a little more this week. It seems they've been a little adverse to that, and believe that's a little more on QB play, more so than play calling. But hey, we're fixing to see if they can get that going here this week. Who else we got here in the chat? Wow, there's so many of you in here. Todd Ostendorf coming in. Good to see you, Todd. Hello, my fellow Bronco Maniacs. I'm sure that's a play on Hulkamaniacs, Hulk Hogan. I'm more of a John Cena guy, but hey, that's more of a generational thing, probably. So, that's just me. Ernie coming in again on Facebook. He's running both sides. He's got YouTube and Facebook. Good to see you, Ernie. So let's just get into our main topic of tonight and what everyone's been waiting to see. Although we already have such an all-star defense, Dre Greenlaw getting activated. He's going to make his Broncos debut against the Giants tomorrow, and man, is he so needed in that linebacker core. Justin Cernat has been a pleasant surprise. I'm not playing like an all-star by any means, but he's played much better, having to step up into the role that Greenlaw has left void for him. Alex Singleton, on the other hand, while he's a great guy, he's seen his interview with his sister recently, and that was really lovely stuff. He's not cutting it on the football field. And, Greenlaw needs to come in here and bring that energy, and that's what he does. But the big question is, and I'm sure what you all are thinking, how much time is he going to get to play? Is he going to be on a snap count? If I were a betting man, I would say so. It's the quad injuries are kind of tricky. Anything to do with quads, hamstrings, leg injuries in general, it's a little rough. It's a little rough to come back to. And, it's his first real game action. He has practiced the past 3 days, so it seems he's up to speed, but I believe he will be on a pitch count. And that's probably for the best. And now, who steps up in his place? Or rather, who does he take over for? Is it Justin Cernat? Unfortunately, I think that's what it is, because are you going to take Alex Singleton off the field? He is a team captain despite his play. The Broncos defense and the Broncos coaching staff seems to absolutely love him. So it's hard for me to see him get taken off the field unless there's an injury or he just continues to play at the level that he has, which is quite terrible in my opinion. But we'll have to see. And, let's turn back to the chat here for just a minute. And C. Chang come in saying, Dylan, are you excited for the game tomorrow? I am absolutely ecstatic. And, I'm really upset. Usually I'm able to make it to the meet and greets. It's such a fun time. It's so great to see you guys in person and put some faces to these names. Because as you see a C. Chang here, he has a profile picture, but it's just an S there. And even when we do have profile pictures on some of you people, they're a little too small for me to see. And it's kind of hard for me to suss out who's who. But it's a bummer I can't be there this year, but I'll be there in spirit. And, you guys will get to see all of the other hosts that you've come to know and love, and chat it up with them. Maybe have a few party favors with them as well. So always good to see that. Jacob Roper comes in and says Singleton has been getting better. I don't know. I disagree with that. I go back and watch the games after, and he's making a few more tackles here and there. And that's what he's been known for, right? He's led the league, or not led the league, but led the Broncos in tackles for the past several years, which is all well and good. But where are those tackles happening? Are they happening a couple yards after contact? Obviously, you don't expect every linebacker to be a Fred Warner when it comes to coverage, right? But Singleton has to put himself in better positions to make plays on the ball or to stuff runs. And thus far this season, I just haven't seen it. I mean, he's coming off an Achilles, man. Like, and he's already an older player. That's why I ranked the Broncos when we did letter grades for each position. I ranked him at, I believe it was a D- or an F, just because the injury history. I absolutely love Greenlaw. The dude plays with his hair on fire, and he's amazing to watch, especially in coverage. That's his specialty, and that's something the Broncos have been lacking in so much for years. We're adverse to drafting inside linebackers unless it's, I don't know, late rounds or undrafted free agents, which is very unfortunate. But like I mentioned, Sternad has been playing better, but in terms of Singleton, I just hate to see it. You got Singleton coming off an Achilles, Greenlaw's an injury history. It was always going to be a rough position for this Broncos defense, but they have played at a very high level thus far. But if we could just take that next step somehow, right? I mean, they have been playing great, but if we could just take that next step, let's get some more turnovers going. Let's get a little better in pass coverage, because the linebackers have been exploited, whether they get a mismatch on a wide receiver, whether it's a running back, whether it's a tight end, it really doesn't matter. These guys have not played to the level that they should. And it's very, very upsetting. But, we'll have to see if Singleton steps up, because after his comments about the Chargers game week 3 being, this isn't a must win. Are we going to die if we lose this game? We're going to lose the locker room. Well, you're a captain. You're supposed to be setting an example. And that's absolutely ridiculous to be saying, it's not a must win. It's just a division opponent. It's only week 3. And, well, you'd be at the top of the division if you beat the Chargers week 3. You'd have that tiebreaker and you'd be at the top. But, hey, who knows, right? But, that's just the way it's been. And String Guy coming in and says, Dylan, have you heard all the trash talk by the Giants? I see it really firing up our team along with the alumni weekend. I don't see this as a trap game thanks to the Giants. It's kind of hard to say in terms of it being a trap game. I do think the Giants have some good pieces, mostly on defense. Their offense doesn't scare me as much. I know running back Cam Scatterbo had a great game against the Eagles on Thursday night, but Thursday night, short week, division rivals, it's always going to be a weird kind of game. Not to take anything away from Scatterbo, he's been solid, but I'm not as worried about it being necessarily a trap game as some other people are. And Jackson Dart, while he's been kind of flashy and made some plays, and as Jonathan Cooper says, he wears chains and dances around, and I know that's kind of what got the Giants fan base a little butthurt was that. But hey, I mean, he's not wrong. Jackson Dart really hasn't done anything to this point, except he's showed flashes, right? And it's the potential, right? That's the word that people like to use. The potential of how good he could be, or the potential of just how he could be, right? And that's all well and good, but he hasn't played a Broncos defense yet. And I think he's going to get squashed and he's going to get humbled, especially if he keeps running the ball like he's, I don't know, a fullback. He thinks he runs like he's Josh Allen. He's not quite there yet. And young quarterbacks tend to athleticism and lean on that. And that's all well and good. But against this defense, not sure that's really going to work out for him. We got David Youngkin coming in here. Thank you, David, for the super chat. He says, if we get past the Giants and Cowboys, do you, in your honest opinion, see us using anything on the trade deadline? I do not. There's been a lot of speculation through fans, analysts, what have you. And, it's more so kind of fun stuff, right? Maybe not necessarily realistic, just with how the Broncos cap situation is looking. I've seen Chris Olave thrown out there. I've seen Jalen Waddle. I've seen David Njoku. I've seen Mark Andrews. Eric McCoy, the center from the Saints, because we could use some interior offensive line help in general. Eric McCoy would be great. Or inside linebacker, you look at Demario Davis, the ties of the Saints, Sean Payton, those are always going to happen. If they do get past the Giants and Cowboys, I mean, if they really feel they need that one or two extra piece to maybe put this offense or defense just to that next level, I could absolutely see it. Now, what's the compensation look like? Who are they really looking at? I'm not entirely sure. The fact that the Broncos have been connected to wide receivers per Mike Kliss, speculation obviously, but Mike Kliss is the mouthpiece for the Broncos, so it's worth putting some stock into. That shows kind of how they feel about this wide receiver core and how I've felt about them for a couple of years now. Going back to the word potential, it's unrealized potential, so I don't really care what potential's there. If you're not using the guys, if you're not getting the most out of them, you have to add to that room and just get as much as you can out of them, because Courtland Sutton can't be wide receiver one every game. Obviously, he is on the depth chart, and we all know that. He's the best guy out there in the receiving core, but you need someone else to step up. It can't be a one-man show every week. That's not how you help your young quarterback. You need a run game as well, but the passing targets just need to be there. Let's get Pat Bryant involved more. It seems like Evan Ingram is getting a bigger role. Slowly but surely, he's getting a bigger role. So you love to see that, and especially with the guy you paid in free agency. But we'll have to see how that plays out here. Let's keep looking through the chat here. Phil McLaughlin coming in. Thank you, Phil. Always good to see your name pop up in the chat, my man. He says, good evening, Dylan. Are we picking up a linebacker or O-line player before November? It's really kind of hard to say, and it kind of goes back to the question earlier. It depends how competitive this team is, and obviously you're sitting at 4-2, and there's been some close games that maybe shouldn't have been so close. The Broncos should have put them away a little sooner than the fourth quarter. But if they do feel that they are competitive this year and they feel they're not going to just make it to the playoffs, but make a push through the playoffs, make it past that wild card round, maybe they do add a linebacker like a Demario Davis, like as I mentioned, and Eric McCoy on the offensive line, someone to just kind of bolster that room, because linebacker, as I talked at the top of the show, has been pretty atrocious to say the least. And the center play, I think, has really affected even the guard play next to him, with Quinn Miners seemingly falling off the face of the earth with his play. He's been dreadful this year, which is something you really don't want to see with especially with the quarterback in Bo Nix, who has not been super great under pressure. You didn't really see that much in college because he had a fantastic O-line there and he didn't get pressured much, but coming in the NFL last year, still looked pretty good with how great the Broncos were in pass protection. But once we're seeing the offensive line be a little shaky, now you're starting to see the warts come out. They're showing a little more with Bo Nix in terms of how he is under pressure. So rooting for the guy. Hopefully he cleans that up a little bit, among a few other things. So we'll have to see if they do decide to pick up another player here to boost the offense and defense. But I think the offense could use a little more help right now than the defense. We have Roy Osborne coming in. Good to see you here, Roy. He says, hey there, Dylan. I'm in Denver and can't wait to meet the MHH guys tomorrow and watch the game. I was really bummed because I saw you were going, man, and I always see your name popping up in the chat, and I was really looking forward to meeting you this year. But, life happens. Things get in the way, but that's all right. I'm super happy for you to be at the game, and it's always a good time to meet everyone and just be down to earth. We're all just people at the end of the day, and it's great to see you guys in person and chat it up. So loving that and hoping for a Broncos win, where I believe we have a 3-1 record at meet and greets. So let's get that up to 4-1. I'd really love to see that. We got Corey Johnson coming in. Thank you, Corey. Says, would you trade Jaquan McMillan for a second-round pick, then trade a third for a left guard / swing tackle? Wow. I mean, I don't think you could get Jaquan McMillan for a second, but for the sake of this comment, I would absolutely do it. You have Zadeh Barron sitting behind him, a first-round pick. I know people have been kind of upset that he hasn't gotten playing time. We have to think back to when Patrick Surtain II was drafted. He probably wouldn't have seen playing time if Ronald Darby didn't get hurt in week 4. He was the fourth corner on the depth chart up until that injury happened. And you're seeing kind of a similar thing with Barron. But McMillan has probably been the Broncos' best corner this year. And a year ago, I wouldn't have said that. He gave up a lot of plays and a lot of yards after the catch. He was making tackles, but they were happening well after the receiver caught the ball. But this year he's been balling out, and while you haven't seen him be a turnover machine like he was just a year ago, he's been playing really good. But if you're throwing a second round pick out there for an undrafted free agent, I got to take it. I mean, you do have your first round. If we didn't have Barron, I would think twice about it. But I think I might make that deal. And then you mentioned trading for a left guard and swing tackle. I think the Broncos kind of have their swing tackle. Maybe look for a guard, but it does come down to money at the end of the day. And the Broncos are not sitting on a whole lot in terms of their cap right now. And it's not looking great in terms of money. I mean, they can make some moves here and there, and more so for injury and whatnot, but I don't think they're out there to make a big splash. And I'm not sure how many teams are going to be willing to part ways with a solid enough offensive lineman, because offensive line talent is very hard to find in NFL. Guard, a little less so, but tackles especially. But we will see where they go from there. We got Peter Middleton coming in. Hi from Singapore. Wow, that's crazy, man. Fans all over the globe, not just the United States, but the globe, and that's absolutely amazing to see, and just crazy that you're just hopping in. I see your name constantly in here, Peter, and it's good to see you hopping in just from around the world. He says, think this will be a high-scoring game. Let's go Broncos. I won't spoil my prediction. I'll save that for the end of the episode, but I think it's going to be another low-scoring defensive affair, and it's really going to come down to which offense can put up at least, I don't know, I think it's the first to maybe 13 to 20 points wins the game. That's just kind of how these offenses have been playing, but we shall see. We shall see. Todd coming in says, Giants fans may be wondering if Dart is the guy after tomorrow because his defense is going to rock him. Well, I certainly hope so, because week 1, it's week 1. It's weird. A lot of things can happen. Teams have months in advance to prepare for their first opponent. And the Titans and Cam Ward specifically, looked amazing. And the stat sheets won't show it, but the dude was slinging the football around. And if his receivers, namely Calvin Ridley, caught more passes in that game, I believe he had 4 to 5 drops, which is absolutely just unheard of. That game might look a little different. I'm not saying Dart's going to do that, because I don't believe they have a very good receiving core, minus Malik Neighbors, who's out for the rest of the season. And another one of their top receivers, Darius Slayton, is going to be out for this game. So you're looking at Wan'Dale Robinson, Jalen Hyatt. Even just looking at this receiver depth chart, it's a bunch of no names. I'll just say that much. So yeah, we're probably going to bring Dart back down to earth. You hear about Brian Daboll being this amazing QB whisperer and what he did with Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen, at the end of the day, made Josh Allen, not Brian Daboll. But he projects to be kind of a similar player, not the same talent level, but a similar player to Josh Allen. So maybe he does get that second win. He catches fire again and finds something in Dart. But it's going to be a tough ask against this Broncos defense, who's been top 10 in every category defensively, minus turnovers, as I mentioned earlier. What else do we got going on here in the chat? Let's see. Nothing with Knicks throwing the Sun each time. Flacco did it to chase Thursday night. I love Cortland Sutton. He's one of my favorite players on this team. He is not in the same stratosphere as Jamar Chase is as a receiver. And while I think Bo Nix has, again, the potential to be a very good player here in the near future, Joe Flacco has a veteran savvy, and he has that I don't care attitude. He's like, I'm 40, 41, whatever he is, and he's just going to sling it. And that's what he did against the Steelers defense that I thought was much better than they played that night. But hey, weird things happen in the NFL. Again, it's another defensive game, or a division game rather. But I mean, teams have kind of keyed in on, Sutton's kind of the main guy here, because Troy Franklin ain't worth a squat. He made a few plays on a single drive this season, and then it's kind of been MIA beyond the fumble last week, which was very upsetting. And I hate to say it, Mims is kind of just a gadget guy at this point. I think I'm ready to just put that stamp on him and not be done with him necessarily, but to expect more out of him. I'm just not seeing it. Let's get Pat Bryant involved. That dude is a chain mover. In college, I can't remember the exact stat, but the majority of his catches moved the chains. They went for first downs. And that's something the Broncos have struggled with mightily this season. So let's get Pat Bryant more involved. I don't care if he's a rookie, Sean Payton. Let's get him involved a little more, because clearly the quote unquote veterans ahead of him, they're not cutting it. Sherfield, he's not cutting it on the offense either. He's more of a special teams guy, which special teams that's a whole other problem. But yeah, I don't really see that, the Nick Sutton connection is awesome when it happens, but other guys need to step up and allow for Sutton to not get double teamed or even triple teamed for an entire game. It's just kind of bogus, to be honest. But before we get to a few more questions here, we have a presenting sponsor for today, so bear with me. It is a very long read. Here we go. Underdog Fantasy is our presenting sponsor. Football season is in full swing, and Underdog is the best place to get on all the action and win money. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. That's right. Get your picks right, and you can win up to 5,000 times your cash. You can play with just as little as $1. So if you think you've got a beat on Bo Nix's stats this week, download Underdog and win some money. I have so much fun playing Underdog and winning money while watching football. That's a touchdown, folks. Download the app today and sign up with promo code MHuddle to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code MHuddle. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Make picks, win money.
Be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
Thank you, Underdog, for your continued sponsorship. We very much appreciate that. Got Phil McLaughlin hopping back in. He says, Dylan, what do you want to see as the ratio between pass and run this week? Well, I'd prefer to get the run game going a little more, just because that's kind of been the Achilles heel of this offense, beyond penalties, beyond throwing over the middle of the field. The run game hasn't been present, but when it has been, it's worked wonders. Bo Nix gets a little pressure off of him. We see J.K. Dobbins as one of the top rushers in the league at one point, and it opens up this offense a little more. And I know Sean Payton gets frustrated because he wants Bo Nix to chuck the ball around the field, and he wants to throw all these screen passes and all these elaborate different play calls. But if the run game's not working, defenses are just going to load the box and say, hey, Bo Nix, we dare you to go back and sling it and win the game with your arm, which he hasn't proven to do yet this season. Now, it's just really frustrating, and I'd really rather see maybe like a 60-40 run to pass ratio. I think that would probably be ideal, but knowing Sean Payton, he's going to want to sling it around a little more, and this Broncos offense can take advantage of the Giants secondary. Obviously, the Giants have a very formidable defensive line where you got Dexter Lawrence, you got Kayvon Thibodeau, you got rookie Abdul Carter. That's a very ferocious couple of guys, or quartet there, I guess you would call it. Pass rush quartet there. And their secondary, on the other hand, is very, very exploitable. You have Paulson Adebo and Cordell Flott as the starting corners. You also have Drew Phillips in there in the nickel. They've been quite terrible, and this would be a perfect opportunity for the Broncos to step up and just get more catches, get more creative in the pass game. And I know Sean Payton has been endlessly picked on for his play calling, and last game against the Jets, very warranted. I will give you that. But for the most part, Sean Payton has called pretty outstanding game plans outside of some situational stuff. But Bo Nix just needs to get the ball where it needs to go. It's been a bit frustrating for me this season. Obviously, as some of you guys know, I haven't been the biggest fan of Bo Nix coming out of the draft, and I've been very critical of him as the Broncos quarterback, as I am with most Broncos quarterbacks, because let's be real, if you're not getting great play out of the quarterback, it doesn't move the needle for this team, and you're not making the playoffs. But if you go back and watch the first handful of games, you're seeing receivers streak open down the, especially in the middle of the field. And Bo Nix is just being too quick. He's getting antsy and he's taking the dump off. He's not waiting for things to come open. But you see guys like Troy Franklin, like Mims, like Pat Bryant getting open over the middle of the field in the intermediate area. And Bo Nix just isn't seeing it and he's not hitting them. And it's really frustrating to watch. And it makes you kind of wonder, is Sean Payton calling a lot of these screen passes, these swing passes? Because we know he likes to do that in general with his offense. But he seems to be calling it more often because maybe he isn't comfortable with Bo Nix operating that middle of the field. And I'm not out on Bo Nix. I still believe in him. I think he could become a good quarterback. The question really is how good. He needs to start seeing these receivers over the middle. He needs to start setting his feet when he throws. So really, really need to see that pass game open up. And thank you, Phil, again for coming in. Let's see what else we have in here. We have Prod by Sunny Deman. Crazy name. Haven't seen you in the chat before. Welcome in. He says, we need to pick up the tight end from the Browns, David Njoku. I'd be pretty ecstatic about that. Again, it would probably come down to money. I'm not sure. We'll see. I think they kind of like having him there on the Browns, but I think it's more of a quarterback question for the Browns than it is anything. Their defense is still dominant as ever. You know, Jerry Jeudy's there. I know Broncos country likes to, you know, talk crap on him quite a bit, but he is a good player. It's just you haven't really had the QB play from Joe Flacco to Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur, if we ever see him hit the field. They might want to hold on to David Njoku, but he would be amazing in this offense. I mean, you wonder how much they want to pull a trigger on trading for a tight end, already having Evan Ingram, and he's starting to kind of create a role for himself and carve that out and get more touches on offense. So we'll have to see about that. I really hope we trade for something. If we do end up trading for someone, it should be on the offensive side of the ball. Let's be real. I feel like we have most of the pieces outside of inside linebacker on the defense. It's more so we need more reliable pass catchers. We need better pass protection, and it's kind of hard to come by this part of the season. And it depends on, again, money and what the Broncos are willing to part with in terms of either players or draft compensation. So we'll have to see what's up with that. So Pro 16K coming in. Good to see you, my man. He says, I just want to see Sean use the deep ball a few times in this game. I think it kind of goes back to Sean Payton's a little worried that Bo Nix is not going to deliver on those deep balls. And we've seen him do it last season, but thus far this year, I mean, man, he's just not connecting on them. I don't know what it is, because for the most part, and not all the time, obviously, but for the most part, he's had a clean pocket. But he's getting antsy, or he's stepping up into his own lineman for whatever reason and just throwing an F-it ball kind of just up in the air. And I mean, he's close. He's very close to hitting these deep balls, but it's as if he's lost his chemistry with Troy Franklin, or he's lost the chemistry with Marvin Mims. I mean, you see it here and there. He'll connect on a deep ball, but this season, man, he's been just flat out missing them. And that's really tough to see. And that might be why Sean Payton's not calling as much deep balls, because he doesn't trust that Bo can get the ball there. And that doesn't go back to, we talked about arm strength all through the draft. And my question was always velocity. He can throw it far. Distance is not necessarily a problem with him. It's how quick can you get that ball there? How quick can you get that ball deep? But in this instance, he's thrown it too far. He's just missing him by about a hand's reach there. And that you hate to see that, because he was very good at that last year, and we saw flashes of him doing the deep ball last year. Can he do that consistently, though? Thus far, we haven't seen it, and that's absolutely disappointing. So hopefully we do get some deep shots dialed up, but you have to connect on them, Bo, if you want Sean to keep calling those plays. Got Todd Ostendorf coming back, and he says, what's going to happen when Scatterbo meets Hufanga in the middle of the field, baby? Bronco Mania coming for you, brother. I'm not even going to try and do the Hogan accent because, I don't know, my voice is a little shot at this point. I've been rambling so much here today, but I'm taking Hufanga in that fight. Dude's a dog. I know Scatterbo has got a reputation for running into contact whether he needs to or not. He tends to kind of try and bulldoze up in the middle and looks for contact. But, you know, I think that he's going to have a relatively short career. It's going to be a pretty fun and exciting career, but just how he played through high school, in college, now in the NFL looking for contact, I'm not sure how he looks even maybe his last year of his rookie contract, but hey, that's something we'll have to monitor over the next few years of watching him play. But he is a very exciting player. I'll give you that. Got Pro 16K coming back and he says, I'll be at the meet and greet in spirit living in Thailand, but someday I will come to Denver. Well, we would love to see you there, man. We'd love to have you. It's especially someone like you who's been in the chat so often and so consistently. We love hearing from you guys and hearing your stories of how you became a Broncos fan, your favorite players, how you think we're doing this season, and even, ribbing us every once in a while, telling us why we're wrong. Because you know what? We love that. We want to hear critiques. And that makes us better as commentators. So we do very much appreciate that. Let's see what we got. We got super chat coming in from Bossman J, $10 super. Thank you so much, Bossman J. He says, Mims has turned into nothing more than a decoy, but Dart and the New York Giants fan base hyped up the wrong edge rushing duo. Boy, did they. They can talk trash all they want. The Giants, they do have some pretty solid pass rushers, but they're not Nick Bonito. He's got the highest odds to be defensive player of the year. And for the Broncos to possibly have back-to-back defensive player of the year, that's just a testament to how good this group is. And to be honest, you got to give Vance Joseph his flowers. While he doesn't always call the best games, he's got the talent on the field to make up for it. And I'll be the first to say, when that Nick Bonito pick came in those years ago, I was scratching my head. I said, I know this guy is a designated pass rusher, not great in the run game. We took him with our second round pick. Okay, not that great. And while he's still pretty, so-so in the run defense, he is probably the best pure pass rusher in the NFL right now. His first step, his explosiveness to get around that edge and get after the quarterback is second to none in the NFL. I don't care about TJ Watt. I don't care about Myles Garrett. This dude is getting to the quarterback as quick as humanly possible. And he might be more than human. He might be a mutant, man. Any X-Men fans out there, he might be a mutant in disguise. Coming in with a super chat, CJ999 super chat. Thank you, CJ. Says, so ready to honor DD tomorrow. Man, I absolutely love Demaryius Thomas. I have his jersey up on my wall over here. Is, and will always be my favorite Denver Bronco. Just such a great leader, so soft-spoken, so humble. But when that helmet comes on, he turned into Superman. He made plays when the Broncos absolutely needed him, whether it was Tim Tebow, Peyton Manning, and any of the hundreds, it felt like, quarterbacks who've come through here since then. God, he was just so fun to watch on the field, and it really makes me appreciate, just with how this wide receiver room is right now, just really appreciate how awesome he was for the Broncos and for just making this offense really hum. And God, he will be missed, but it's so great and so beautiful that the Broncos are honoring him this weekend, along with bringing in over 100 alumni to come watch this game. So it adds a little more pressure, obviously, but I think the Broncos will be ready for it. And I think this will surely motivate them to rise to the occasion, whether it is against an opponent that's looked down upon a little bit. The Broncos have, at least on offense, played down to their opponents, which is, you don't like to see. But I think they'll have a little magic from DT and really get things going. So Yeah, that would be very awesome. Todd says it would be awesome to see Sutton, Mims, Franklin, Ingram, Bryant, or Sherfield land a 60-yard plus catch for a touchdown. Yeah, I'm right there with you, Todd. I want to see any of these guys make a play. Like Sutton here, he's made plays throughout the season. He's been pretty awesome. But any of those guys after that you mentioned, Mims, Franklin, Ingram, Bryant, or Sherfield, let's get an explosive play, man. Let's get more consistent explosive plays. And I mean, that could possibly bust the game open because, like I mentioned, I think the first team to around 13 points is winning this game. While I do like the Giants' defensive front, I think as a whole they're kind of a weaker unit, and the Broncos coming in being a much better defensive unit. It's going to be a defensive battle, but whichever offense can generate just those 2 or 3 really explosive plays, I think they end up winning this game. And I hope to see it because obviously a lot of you fans are going to be there in attendance. So it would be awesome for you guys to see that win. Let's see what else we got going on in the chat. It is just me here. No one in the background. No smoke and mirrors here. We're just off the rip here. Let's see. Logan coming in says, Dre back is huge, but honestly, they will still find Singleton on the field and go after him. Need to keep Dre and Sternad on the field. In a perfect world, this is what's happening. I'm not sure it does. I mentioned at the top of the show, Singleton is a captain. He is very much respected. He's a nice guy, and people like nice guys. But when you're playing like garbage on the field, it's going to get harder and harder to justify having him out there, even with because just with how collectively the talent is on this Broncos, how amazing there. You got PS2, you got Riley Moss, you got McMillan, you got both your edge rushers, even the guys up the middle, Zach Allen and John Franklin Myers, who don't get as much love as they should. With those guys all standing out so much, Singleton stands out like a clown, like a sore thumb, whatever you want to call it. He is a detriment to this Broncos passing defense, especially. I would prefer they keep Sternad out there and Dre, and then maybe you mix Singleton on and some run looks. But I'm just not a huge fan of having him out there for an extended period of time. Let's see. Let's go through here. A couple more super chats. I'm going to keep it a little shorter, right around 37, 38 minutes right now, which it's flown by, but my voice is starting to get a little hoarse here, and it's a little more nasally and annoying than usual. I'm a little sick, so thank you guys for bearing with me for as long as you did. Formula Salty Thunder says 30 sacks through 6 games is ridiculous. Let's beat the Bears record. I think it's entirely possible. While I don't think they're going to get 9 sacks every game, that would be absolutely outrageous. But I think if they can keep pace how they are, get 4 or 5 sacks a game, which maybe it's crazy to me, or maybe it sounds crazy. I think that's attainable. I think this defense is just that good. And seeing some of the quarterbacks they have to play coming up, I think it's very possible they do that. But this defense, I believe they have 10 more sacks than the next closest team, which is just unheard of. It's absolutely amazing. And I love seeing Nick Benito fire off the edge. And Jonathan Cooper, I believe, has the most sacks for a 7th round pick. And I didn't see that coming when he was drafted. I thought, good depth guy, good rotational guy. Even when we paid him, I was like, I don't know. I mean, like, he's solid. Not sure we wanted to pay him that much money, but the contract is actually working out quite well, money-wise at least, and on the field with how much pressure he's getting, all the sacks he's getting. So I just love to see it, man. If we can get more, just stay on pace and beat that Bears record, man, that would be something. And it's what worries me is the offense keeping up their side of the deal and not wasting how good this defense is. But we will see how that goes. Got Todd coming in, dropping his prediction. Broncos 31, Giants 24. It's got a lot higher scoring than I think it will be, but let's keep some predictions going here, folks. We'd love to see that and see your input on why you think the score will be what it will be. Pro season coming 34-12. This Broncos offense coming out party. I sure hope so. Let's score a freaking touchdown on the first drive, man. Let's stop waiting till the fourth quarter to turn it on. Let's turn it up to Mach 10 right off the bat. I don't care how you do it, whether it's through the run game, whether it's through big pass plays, you have to get this offense moving, because guess what? You get up early, this Broncos defense, they're pinning their ears back and they're getting after Jackson Dart, and they're taking him down 4-5 times this game if they can get an early lead. And that's exactly what this team needs to do going forward. Not just against these Jets teams, these Giants teams, the ones that are looked down upon a little more. You want to do that against the ultra competitive teams like the Bills, the Chiefs, and all the like of that. So hopefully we see more of that. We got Phil McLaughlin coming back in. He says 2 big keys for me are 1, special teams, 2, penalties. Absolutely. I'm not sure what the hell happened to special teams this year after being one of the top, if not the top unit just a season ago. I hesitate to put it on Darren Rizzi because he has that pedigree of being a top special teams coordinator in this league. Did losing Traymon Smith just break the special teams unit? He was quite good in coverage and setting up blocks ahead of Marvin Mims last year, but I didn't think it would hurt this much. I know we just picked up Gray off the Baltimore Ravens practice squad. He's with the Saints as an all-pro special teamer, so hopefully that kind of balances things out, because that's been pretty rough. But especially penalties, man. Oh my God, this team is undisciplined. And I know some people believe there's this bias for Sean Payton because of, Bountygate and all the refs not liking him so much, right? And they're calling more penalties. But a lot of the ones you're seeing, very fixable. And that's what's so frustrating. False starts? What are we doing? I understand Matt Pert. He didn't play great. He was injured, so that adds a little more context to just how bad he was playing. But you just got to clean it up. On offense especially. Good Lord. The false starts, the holdings. I can excuse a holding here and there so you don't get your quarterback killed, but some are just inexcusable. Quinn Miners dragging a guy down in the end zone. Not a great play call, in all fairness. But you can't be doing that, man. It's terrible, and it's killing drives before they even begin. Taking away first downs. Negating all of those positive plays. It's awful to see, and that's part of the reason this offense is so hamstrung. And lucky for Denver, their defense is probably the best in the league. And for my money, it is the best in the league. But they can only do so much before they break if the offense keeps spinning its wheels and can't keep going. So we'll have to see how they do this week. EBT Entrapment, he says 23-16 Broncos. Love to see it. I'm going to look through the chat here a little more. Let's see here. Looks like we're winding down a little bit. And that's totally all right by me, because I'm starting to get a little hoarse. I love talking to you guys. I could talk for hours, but I have no one. I don't have a co-host to riff off of tonight. So we're slowing down here a little bit. And if you guys got any more burning questions, please drop them now. But looks like we're going to get to the end of the podcast here. Thank you guys so much again for joining Orange and Blue View tonight. The few things you can do to help out this podcast and the MHH channel as a whole is follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Mile High Huddle Pod, on Instagram at Mile High Huddle with a underscore between mile and high. And then also a great thing you can do is to rep your favorite podcast. Hopefully it's this one, but just in case it's not, we got plenty of other stuff, whether it's Building the Broncos, the Mile High Huddle podcast. We got merch at mhhmerch.com. Get your swag on. I guess that's, sorry, Chad, that's a little more of a boomer term. That's not something I say these days, but hey, I'm not gonna be too mad at it. But the best thing you can do, if you can't donate money, because we don't expect you to, it helps us keep the lights on. But the best thing you can do, as it says down on the ticker, subscribe, like, and share. And as I say, when I'm moderating the chats day to day, a little bit goes a long way, and it certainly does. Liking, subscribing, and sharing goes very far for this podcast. And make sure to also leave a review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and leave a 5-star review, and you can get a chance to get some Mile High Huddle merch, which is absolutely amazing. I got a couple shirts here from my Huddle, and they're a little worn, they're a little old. Get some updated merch, guys. Don't be like me. Don't be a bum like me. Go get that new stuff. That stuff's awesome. And also down, as you see in the ticker below, become a member at MHH. It helps keep the lights on us for here and keeps us host happy and what have you. But that is going to do it for us tonight, folks. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I know it was a little weird show. I ramble quite a bit. It's my first time going solo, so I appreciate you guys hanging in. And make sure to also follow me. You can see down there in the bottom corner, Dylan Von Arks, MHH on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. And before I get out of here, I just want to leave you guys with my prediction. I think this is going to be a low-scoring affair. I talked about it all pod. It's going to be, defensive battle. And, we've kind of been accustomed to that. And Broncos haven't had great offenses these past few years, but I see the Broncos eking this one out 13-9. Broncos win, get to 5-2, and hopefully keep a top spot in the AFC West race. But that is going to do it tonight for me, folks. Thank you again for joining me, and I appreciate your time. And as always, go Broncos. But I will say one more thing. For those going to the meet and greet, please drink responsibly, stay safe, get a ride share if you have to. No shame in that. But thank you all for joining me, and go Broncos.